So I'm here with Henry Tomlinson. We're reviewing the football. So some great results over the weekend for the top teams, not for the bottom teams. Brighton getting a bit above the kind of the bottom 5 teams. Do you think there's a bit of a gap opening up there? How do you see it? 5 points away from Watford, 6 from the bottom 3.
Yeah, they're doing really well since football's returned. They got a win on the first day, and then they got a draw, and then they beat Arsenal, and so they're looking really good. They've definitely built a bit of room between the drop and themselves.
The other team's not picking up points.
Yeah, exactly. So they've definitely got themselves a bit of safety room. So they're probably going to start to think soon that they are safe, but they need to be careful because they've got a tough run coming up, not to sort of get complacent, because if the teams below do somehow start picking up points, then they could find themselves crouching back towards it.
Yeah, they just got to eke out some points and maybe win one more game and, 2 or 3 draws, do you think? I mean, 33 points going into the Man United game. So where's that points level? Because I thought it was going to be like 38, but it's not, is it?
Well, I think
the way the results,
because of the form of Norwich, Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham, Watford, it doesn't look like it's going to be a high points total that's going to save you. You know, people always talk about the magic 40-point mark.
Right, it's not going to be.
But you can't see the bottom 5 getting anywhere near that. They're all not playing well, and very much look like they're not going to pick up points. I mean, Bournemouth and West Ham look very toothless going forward. Villa, they've been a bit unlucky, I think, but they've got a really tough run coming up now. Norwich, as much as they try and they put a lot of effort in, it's just somehow they just always seem
not quite there, are
they? Don't have that quality just to push the result over.
Yeah.
And Watford, they've suffered from the lockdown. They haven't quite looked the same as they were before they went in, because they were playing really well.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they're sort of struggling to get themselves back up to speed.
Yeah. Norwich, it's a shame, isn't it? I watched them in the FA Cup against Man United. They're actually quite a decent side, but they can't score, can they? I mean, they don't have an attacking threat, really, do they? Something's happened there. They're not quite. Maybe they weren't quite ready to get in the Premier League after having gone down a few seasons before.
They've got a really good youth core.
Yeah.
Really good, younger core with Cantwell, who's a very good player.
Yeah.
Jamal Lewis, Aarons at left and right back. They're really good players. Godfrey at centre back, he's a very good young player, but they're lacking goals from Timu Puki. I think they're very over-reliant on him at the start of the season because he hit the ground running brilliantly, but then died off quite soon and hasn't really got back to his form that he showed at the start of the season since the lockdown, and they need him to score goals because he was their talisman. That's sort of their main issue, is they don't have a clinical enough striker at top that they can rely on. Because I think they've got players that can create chances, especially, like I said, like Todd Cantwell is a great player, and he's sort of doing that. And Buendia, he's one of the most creative players in the league this season. But because they don't have the striker in the box finishing the chances, he should have got 10 assists by now, Buendia, but he's actually sort of struggled to have the stats to show that he's a good player, even though he is creating these chances.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Tim Krul in goal. He's a great goalkeeper. I'm amazed that he's at Norwich and not somewhere else. When we all wanted it to go to penalties, didn't we, in the FA Cup? Anyone that's not a Man United fan, because they probably would have gone through again on penalties, Norwich.
I thought it was going to go to penalties.
And Tim Krul, he thought he was going to go through.
I thought it was going to go to penalties, especially after one of the saves Tim Krul made, where he sort of just clawed it out from behind himself, but they were just unlucky with the Maguire goal.
Yeah. So that's Norwich then. I mean, so Aston Villa spent £100 million. They stand a very good chance of going down. It's a total disaster, isn't it, for Villa? And they've got a massive fan base as well.
Yeah, I think it's gone very similar to the way Fulham went when they went down, of spending a lot of money. And I think Villa thought they were going to try to do the same, but had a better basing team to do it with, like Jack Grealish, great player, Tyrone Mings. They had a good core there already, so they probably thought they're just adding stardust to already what could have been a lower part of the table Premier League team.
Yeah.
But it's just not worked. I think they've been a bit unlucky with injuries. John McGinn missed a huge part of the season. Wesley's missed a huge part of the season. He was going to be their striker for the season.
Yeah.
So they have struggled in that regard, and it's very tricky. I think Dean Smith's a good manager, but it's just sort of struggled to find what his best team is. I think they've brought too many players in, and now they just haven't found the right formula to get the results. So I think if they go down, they'll be in a very, very good position to come back up.
Yeah.
But it's just time is running out for them because they've got a really tough run coming up as well.
They have, yeah. And it could go down to West Ham, Aston Villa last game of the season with Villa as well, couldn't it? I mean, that's what could well happen. What about Bournemouth then? I mean, they look the side that's going to quickly join Norwich. What do you think? I mean, they've got a game against Newcastle coming up. But Bournemouth, they look tired, don't they?
I think they'll probably come out the lockdown the worst.
Yeah.
There was probably a lot of positivity. I was quite positive about them because I thought they were going to have a few players back from injury.
And they've been here before.
Yeah, they have been here before, and I thought when they came, they were going to have sort of their team fully fit. But Ryan Fraser not renewing his contract's been a huge loss for them. Josh King's picked up an injury, which is a major loss for them, and Callum Wilson's 1 yellow card away from missing 2 games. So they could end up having a couple games without really any recognised striker. And without Ryan Fraser, who last season was one of their better players, his form's dropped a bit this season, but I think that's probably because of transfer speculation around him. So they're really struggling to sort of find an answer for the current situation. So Eddie Howe does look a bit in trouble trying to fix this Bournemouth team quickly. Yeah,
and they don't have the crowd to kind of, Bournemouth are quite famous for having a small stadium, but a really raucous crowd, so they don't have that for the home games. So Brighton seem to be, I was out at the Amex, I think it settles them a bit that there isn't a crowd there. Maybe they find it a bit, they're kind of a bit calmer in their approach. They don't look panicked, Brighton, and they were this time last season.
Yeah,
and the 2 games I've seen, they're not panicked.
Yeah, I think every team's sort of reacting to it differently, and some teams are sort of, it's suiting them, and it's sort of, the players a bit more relaxed because they don't have the pressure on. Whereas some teams, because they don't have the pressure from the fans, are letting their performances slide a bit. And Brighton's sort of definitely one of the ones that's taking it the right way, and Bournemouth are definitely one of the ones taking it the wrong way. Just before we finish up then, so West Ham United, where did it all go wrong again? Because obviously, 2 2-0 losses on the spin, and they don't look like scoring, do they? They've got the players. If any team's going to get out of it, it's probably going to be West Ham, but... Well, Sebastian Haller...
They need to put the right results together, don't they?
Well, Sebastian Haller is injured at the moment, and it's just been a massive loss. He played in both the warm-up games and scored in both of them. But now he's out with a groin strain, and he's looking like he's going to miss the Chelsea game. So it's just crucial they get him fit. Once they get him fit, they've got that vocal point up top, whereas at the moment it's playing Mikel Antonio out of position and trying to find a formation that suits the players that are available to David Moyes, because I don't think he fancies Albion Ajeti or Xande Silva, who are 2 younger strikers in the club. I don't think he trusts them in the current position. So that's been West Ham's issue since coming back. I think defensively they've looked all right, but because they're missing the target man up front that can hold the ball up, they're sort of clearing it, and then there's no sustained pressure on the other team, so it's just constantly coming back towards them. So it's looking a bit perilous, West Ham, as long as Haller's out, really. Yeah, and Antonio's not scoring, is he? Because he's the guy that can change a game, but he's not hitting the back of the net at the moment, is he? No, I think he's only got 2 goals this season. Yeah. I know he struggled with an injury himself, but the best football that West Ham have played is with Haller and Antonio up top together. Yeah. And so there's been lots of experiments with Antonio's positioning since he's been at the club. He's been right back, right wing, left wing, and striker. And he's a winger. He should be playing on the wing, but for some reason he's been given this role to play up top. But he's just not. He's a very physical player, but he lacks technically sometimes. So, or his decision making is just not quite there. So it sort of just needs to be back to basics and give a striker a go that is currently in the club and is fit, like Ajeti. Yeah. So everyone else is in their natural position. Yes, the striker might not have the same quality, but everyone else should be comfortable where they are. Like Felipe Hansen's very much struggled to come back, but he's been pushed to the centre where he's a natural winger. So it's an interesting one with West Ham. And the running, that's why I think West Ham will ultimately get out of it, because they've got a fairly
good run in there, haven't they? They've got a lot of winnable games coming up.
Yeah, so I think Newcastle and Burnley are coming up soon.
Yeah.
I think they should aim to get 4 points. They need points
From the next.
quickly. So we've got Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley coming up sort of immediately.
4 points in those 3 games.
4 points in those 3 games would do them well. And then they've got games against Watford, Norwich, Man United and Villa to close off the season. So there's definitely some winnable games, like huge relegation 6-pointers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting into the season because all those teams are going to be looking at those games.
Probably will go down to the last, because there's 2 spots still up for grabs. We were saying Norwich are pretty much down. Then it will go down to the last game of the season. Even if one of those spots gets taken by, say, Bournemouth, and they get cut adrift, but it's going to be that last spot at least, probably last day of the season. We're thinking at this.
Yeah, that West Ham Aston Villa game. If you'd asked me 6 months ago, I'd have thought it would have been a game for nothing really, but it looks like it's going to be possibly the most important game, probably in West Ham's recent history, because if they get relegated with the current ownership and in the stadium, then it could be a really, really bad situation for the club because they're lacking in assets without the stadium and renting it. So it's vital they stay up. So that game is going to be massive.
All right, we'll leave it there. Cheers, Henry. Thanks.